Rev up your engines! Today I got a 5-year-old Silverado. The AC refrigerant leaked out. The customer put it in, lasted a couple of weeks. Let's find out what the heck's going on here. So open the hood. It's high up in the air. We need a ladder here. We want the low pressure one, the big fat one. We'll take this off and we'll hook up a gauge right there. We got the low side, the blue one. Snap it on here. And then open the valve. Now, as we can see here, it's got a reasonable amount of pressure, so the customer might be wrong. It might not have leaked out. So let's turn on the AC. Just climb inside and start her up. We put the AC, it's on low. Turn the fan on full blast. And now when we look under, let's check. Right down there, there's the compressor. As you can see, there we go, the compressor is spinning. It's actually operating. So now we've hooked up the high side line too, so we can read all the pressure. The low's a little low, and the high still got 160. It should be blowing at least cool air. But no, the air that's coming out of the vent, it's the same temperature as the outside air. Nothing is working. So in a case like this, we're gonna go to square one. I have no idea what's put in the system. It might have air in it, so I'm gonna evacuate the system out with my recycling machine and take everything out. Now, unfortunately, you have to have a machine like this, a refrigerant recovery machine. If you don't have one of these, you shouldn't be emptying them out. Pay somebody to empty them out. It's against the law to vent it to the atmosphere, so if it's empty, fine, go ahead and work on it. But this one's still got a lot of refrigerant in it, so we're gonna have to put it in a recycling machine. Well, now that I've recycled everything, we can see this is a truck, so it takes 0.6 kilograms. So we're gonna put that in. So we get the old scale and we're gonna turn it on. Make sure it's set for kilograms. It's warming itself up, okay? It's on kilograms, so now we start adding stuff. Simply open up the valve. It's adding refrigerant now. We're gonna start it up until this says 0.6. So we'll start it up. Make sure the AC's on full blast. There she goes. And here's the trick. Leave the driver's window open, because then the AC has to work hard and it'll suck the new stuff in faster than if you have it rolled up while you're filling it up. And we just let this run until it says 0.6 kilograms. Now, since it's been worked on before, that's why we had to recycle the old stuff. The machine also evacuates the system. If somebody screwed around and got air in the system, that can make it go bonkers. Now we know we have an empty system, totally empty, evacuated out. We fill it with the factory load of 0.6 kilogram. Then we're gonna put a little leak dye in it and look for leaks. I got a big adding machine. You can get little cans too, but hey, this is great. You know exactly how much you put in. Just take off the low side line. Off it goes. Hook the dye machine on, and then give it a little turn. We'll put in about ½ an ounce. But you know, this cheap thing broke. Isn't that life? Look at that, cheap plastic handle split. Well, there's always vice grip pliers. They always work. Make it a little tighter, loosen a little. There we go. Now we can add in. We'll put in about ½ an ounce. There it goes. Then you just uncap it. That's it. The dye's inside. Now I got a new tool, hey. This will never break. Just take it off when I don't need it, put on what I want. Nice solid construction brass, but a cheap plastic handle. What a crappily engineered tool this thing was. Now it is blowing nice and cold. But for how long? Now we're gonna get the leak dye light after letting it run for ½ an hour and try to find out where the stupid thing's leaking from. So we're gonna don these funky yellow sunglasses to get out my UV light that connects to the battery. And we're gonna look for the dye coming out. First we'll look at all the connections. They often leak at connections. Now we added it in here, and you can see even without the sunglasses, that's where we added it. You're gonna see it glowing where you added it. That's normal because the oil and dye is there. We're looking for that same color somewhere else where we didn't have it hooked up to show there's a leak. Now I don't see anything above, so now we're going under. Down we go. Start looking around here. And unfortunately, we're not seeing anything anywhere. Looking around, there's no dye anywhere yet. Even when I shine it on the compressor, it's not glowing either. The compressor's not leaking. And when I shine it in the condenser inside here, I don't see any leaks anywhere there either. So now it's time for smell-o-vision. This is a TIF refrigerant smeller. It smells it, and you hear it. When it starts beeping, it means it's got a refrigerant leak. This is the normal beep. Listen to what happens when it starts to leak. These things are very sensitive. Watch. This is the tank that I use to fill it up, but there's always residual stuff. Hear it? That shows that it's leaking. The beeps speed it up. Even though this canister is shut, there's enough residual here that this machine picked it up. So if there's a leak, this particular one can do like less than ½ an ounce a year. So if there's a leak, this baby's going to be humming. Checking the hoses, they're not leaking. We'll check by the condenser. Well, no leak yet. Now comes a test we all dread. You open the vehicle, turn the key on, and see if it's leaking inside where the evaporator evaporates it. If they leak, it's an expensive fix. As you can hear, it's starting to leak. It's leaking inside the dash. Just goes to show poor GM quality. This thing's barely 5 years old. There's a whopping 67,000 miles on it, and the evaporator's already leaking. And when I looked it up in my great all data information system, it says it takes 15.1 hours of labor and about $340 worth of part, bumping it over a $2,000 job. Curse GM for making them so cheap, for making them taking 15 hours. The old GMs had the evaporators, you could get them out in an hour or so. Not anymore. They've really destroyed the design of these vehicles. But now it's blowing ice cold. We'll see how long it lasts. Customer already filled it up himself once. He might find out that for $2,000 something, he might just buy those little $10 cans and keep filling it up when he needs air conditioning versus spending that kind of money. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Omar Ramirez says, 03 Subaru Outback or 02 Nissan Frontier, which is more reliable? Oh, on that, the Nissan Frontier by far. Back in 02, that was not all that long after Renault took over Nissan. They hadn't destroyed the company yet. And I got a customer who's got 3 of those things. He keeps one old beat up one in the back of his farm just for knocking around in the field and stuff when he goes deer hunting and things. They were well made back in the day, those Frontiers. Good little solid run around pickup trucks, especially the ones that had the standard transmissions. They sold a lot of them and they're decent little pickup trucks. Kevin Out said, Scotty, first time, long time, quack quack. Are Bosch brake pads any good? Sure, they're good brake pads. Bosch is a good company. They make good brake pads. I've had them. I've used them. I personally like the Akabono because they don't make any noise. And personally myself, I don't care about my own vehicles, but my customers whine if they get noise. So I tell them, do you care about noise? I said, if you care at all about noise, tell me that I'll buy the more expensive Akabono brake pads. If you don't, I can buy cheaper ones. But if you don't like noise, I'm going to put the Akabono on because they're always quiet. Ezra Kim says, good afternoon, Mr. Kilmer. Should I buy a 2015 Mazda 3 with 6,400 miles for $7,500 US dollars? I live in Toronto. Well, you live in Toronto. Why are you paying US dollars? You should be paying Canadian dollars there. All right, if they can absolutely positively prove it really only has 6,400 miles on it, go ahead. If a mechanic checks it out and says it's okay, because that is so low mileage that even if it's got an automatic transmission, it's going to go a long time before it breaks down. And I went to school in Toronto years ago. I know everything's expensive there, and that'd be an okay deal. Got absolute positive proof that that's the real mileage. Michael Schutz says, it's time for me to replace my tires. What should I be thinking about when selecting them? You want to get good tires and think about how do you drive your car. If you're a normal driver, you don't need the fancy Z-rated 180 mile an hour tires, you know. You don't want to buy the cheapest ones, like the cheapest Chinese-made ones are junk. You don't want to do that. I find the best tires to buy are a good mid-range tire. Throw out the absolute discount crappers that are their sales to get you in the store. Throw out the high-end ones if you're not a maniac driver. I mean, if you got a Porsche and you're driving it, you got to buy the high-end so they handle and don't squeal around and they last. But if you got a normal car that you drive, generally the mid-range ones are fine. Goodyear, Michelin, whatever. But look at the tires. And if they say made in Korea, made in Thailand, made in the Philippines, don't buy them. You want them made in a regular country where they've been making tires for years. Canada, the United States, Europe, Japan. But don't go for the cheap ones, especially if they say made in China, walk away. Because they have a lot of problems with their tires that come out of China. Not vulcanizing them right so the rubber doesn't hold together as well. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.